When you spend money on ads on things like Google, Facebook, your local television station, Wedding Wire, or The Knot, you might not always see that great of results. A lot of times that money that you spend on those advertising dollars doesn't end up bringing in as much revenue as you would hope it does. However, if you run a venue, there's one place that I personally think is going to be a good investment where you are going to have some ROI or return on investment. And that is Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. Here's why. Meta lets you pick the exact type of individual that you want to reach. You can choose by age, location, interests, life events, whether somebody is planning a wedding, a baby shower, or a business event. And not only that, just recently, Meta released an entirely new AI and algorithm system, which is going to make their algorithm that much more powerful. However, when you are running ads on Meta, it can be really confusing to understand what you're doing right or wrong. How do you measure or understand all of the numbers that they're throwing at you and have a clear picture of if your money is being spent well or not? So here are a couple tips on how to understand and ensure that your Meta ads are working. The first thing that you really need to do is ensure that your website and Meta are actually talking to each other. How you do this is you either set up a pixel or a conversion so that the systems know who's clicking and who's booking. Because there are so many different types of websites out there, the one that you're using for your venue website might not necessarily have an easy integration in order to create a pixel and connect it to Meta. But if they don't, one great resource is just to use ChatGPT. Really state that you want step-by-step instructions on how to set up your pixel on a website in order to work with Meta ads, and it will give you those step-by-step instructions. One of the biggest numbers that you do want to look at when it comes to Meta ads is your click-through rate, or your CTR. What this does is it shows how many individuals saw your ad and then clicked it. I would advise that you want to see a 3% click-through rate or higher. If it's lower, you want to try to make a better ad. Another metric that you want to pay attention to is your cost per unique outbound click. This is different than just your cost per click, CPC. The cost per unique outbound click is the individuals who clicked on your ad and actually went to your website, as opposed to just clicking somewhere on your ad. You want the cost for a unique outbound click to be about $1.50 or less. If it is costing you more than $1.50, you probably have an ad problem and you need to reevaluate either your creative or your headlines and subheadlines and tailor it to fit your audience better. Another tip for Meta is that you don't always have to use a video. Because we're fed so many video ads on social media today, a lot of business owners think that they have to have these really extravagant videos. Just a simple photo of your venue and some clear text can be incredibly beneficial. Please make sure that it's not just a picture of a random couple kissing. We want to be advertising what we're actually selling. We found that sometimes a photo ad can actually convert better than a video. This completely depends, and you do want to test it. You also want to ensure that you're picking the right audience. For instance, if you're trying to find more wedding clients, try audience suggestions like recently engaged or parents of adult children, or in a relationship for 3+ years. When you're creating your ads, you also want to make sure that you're not just advertising in your state. You also want to advertise to nearby states, because it's incredibly common that you end up having individuals who are in one state but have family in another, and they want to host their event in your state. Last, if you have ads that are running on Meta and they're not converting and actually getting individuals to book tours on your site within 2 to 3 days, you really need to evaluate your ads and your website. It's very possible that if your website is confusing and not intuitive, and you haven't made it easy for someone who is on your website to book a tour, then even if you have the best ads possible, it's not going to help you get more tours if your website is super confusing. Follow me for more tips like this on how you can ultimately make your venue more money.